Anyway, here to go over this speech is Eric Trump. He's the son of Donald Trump. And, sir, welcome back to the program. How are you?
Hey, Sean. Great being with you, as always.
You know, this was one of the things that I see happening in the campaign is that your dad now seems to be spending a lot of time preparing and really giving pointed attacks against Hillary. And more importantly, I think, too, is laying out his vision on how the country can grow and that we don't have to have 95 million Americans out of work and 50 million in poverty and 46 million on food stamps. So has something changed?
Listen, I think you're 100% right. I mean, first of all, I was sitting front row today, and I was so proud of him. I mean, we were leaving there today, and just the crowds and crowds of people, I mean, clapping, cheering with signs. I mean, it was just, it was an amazing sight. I mean, it was really, really amazing sight, and I have no doubt in my mind that he's going to win this thing after, seeing what he did today. I mean, he was just, he was perfect. I mean, it was spotless, but I think he picked apart her record and every aspect of her record, and quite frankly, it's a disaster. I mean, you were just talking about Benghazi, obviously, and Mark Geist, one of the survivors, he's the one that had his arm very badly wounded, if you've seen the movie, etc. But
sure.
These guys have become friends, and I mean, the notion that you could leave such courageous people up on a roof to die, you could, make up lies about the video, about the cartoon, that you won't pick up the phone call in the middle of the night. I mean, it's just, it's absolutely disgraceful. It's not who we need as commander-in-chief.
There were major themes, though, in the speech. I thought it was particularly powerful on the issue of national security. He said her decision spread death, destruction, terrorism, everywhere she touched. And then he got specific. And he pointed out in 2009, before Hillary was sworn in, it was a very different world. Libya, and this is true, was cooperating with us. Sure. Gaddafi had literally said he's not going to go forward with a nuclear program. Iraq was seeing a major reduction in violence. The surge had worked. There's no doubt. There's no dispute there. And Syria was under control. Iran was being choked by sanctions. Sure. Egypt did have a friendly regime before the Arab Spring, and then it ended up that Hillary and Obama gave Mohammed Morsi, who once referred to the Israelis as descendants of apes and pigs and former head of the Muslim Brotherhood, a terrorist organization, well, Hillary gave him F-16s and tanks.
Sure.
And $1.5 billion U.S. dollars.
After they gave the Clinton Foundation a ton of money. And listen, there isn't a single thing. You could have a child flip a coin, and it would have been more accurate than her foreign policy. I mean, over the last 10 years. If you look at Iraq, if you look at Libya, if you look at Syria, if you look at Egypt, all of these countries, they're worse off given what we've done and how we've done it. I mean, it's really, really sad. And all the while, it has cost this nation trillions of dollars, and all the while, it's cost this nation, thousands of lives. And, aside from those thousands of lives, the ultimate price, it's also caused, thousands of men and, women who were wounded in battle and have come back to this country with PTSD, and other awful ailments. And, and then they come back and we don't even do a good job taking care of them. I mean, that's the true disgrace. With the amount of money that we've spent in the Middle East implementing her failed policies, we could have rebuilt our entire country. And, my father was talking about infrastructure today, and I'm so proud that he was, but it's true. And,
no, it is crumbling. There's no doubt about it. And more importantly, look at all the Americans out of work and suffering, and median income down, and home ownership rates are down, and people
and by the way, Sean, he hit on that so well. I mean, he talks about the impoverished, inner city, kids, especially minorities in so many cases, and, how, 56% unemployment in some of these communities. And at the same time, here she wants to let in hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands of Syrian refugees. So we can't even take care of our own, but yet we want to let in people into this country, which our intelligence agencies are saying have been infiltrated by, the enemy. I mean, the same type of people who are committing San Bernardino and Orlando and all these other things. So we're not willing to take care of our own. We're not willing to invest in our country, but yet we're letting everybody else in here. I mean, it's truly horrendous. It is so sad. This is the level of incompetence that is on the stage to become commander-in-chief of the United States, and it's got to stop. And I think he did a great job revealing all of her flaws, or so many of her flaws. I mean, he just knocked out of the park today.
It really is mind-numbing, isn't it, when you have the National Director of Intelligence, the FBI Director, the Assistant FBI Director, the Chairman of the House Homeland Security Committee, you have the former envoy, special envoy to defeat ISIS, and you have now the CIA Director all saying ISIS is going to infiltrate, just like they did in Belgium and Paris, the refugee population, and she wants a 550% increase in refugees.
if there's one person in that group of 200,000 that could do something like they just did in Orlando, or they've done in Brussels, or they've done in Paris, or any of these other places, if there's one person, you cannot let them in. And, his message today, Sean, so much of his message was America first. When are we going to start taking care of our own? When are we going to start taking care of our vets? When are we going to start taking care of our military and our infrastructure and our educational system, which is 30th in the world? When are we going to start, putting American jobs first? Our wages have been stagnant for so long, and yet these proposals are on the table, and it's really sickening to my father. And, listen, I've said this to you 100 times. He doesn't need this job, all right? He doesn't need this job. We have an amazing company. We have an amazing family. We do the best deals around the world and around the country. He's doing this, and he's self-funded his campaign thus far because he's fed up of the nonsense. These are the policies that are bringing down this country. And if you look at NAFTA, if you look at TPP, she's in the biggest favor of these. These are stripping our jobs. 2/3 of our manufacturing has gone overseas. It's insane. We don't make anything. We don't produce anything. We don't have jobs anymore.
I want to get to that in a second, but I want to stay on ISIS. This really frustrates me. And I know your dad, actually, I had your dad on at the time, and we argued about the Iraq war, which I supported and he was against. But I did agree with him strongly that if we do it, we need to take the oil. In other words, let them pay for their own liberation. And more importantly, if Americans lose their legs and their arms and they lose a husband and a son, they deserve to be compensated at the very least. And we treat as your dad often says, we treat our vets horribly. But if you look at the vacuum created because Obama and Hillary draw a red line in the sand as it relates to Syria, and then they allowed cities like Mosul and Fallujah and Tikrit and Ramadi to be taken back, it created the vacuum where they could grow and destabilize the entire region. And it created an opening for hegemony for a country like Iran to now be the main power in the region. That is beyond destructive. It is a total, complete destruction of the entire Middle East, the destabilizing of the entire Middle East.
Listen, there's no question about it, and I think he's been the biggest proponent of taking that oil. Listen, if we're going to go fight somebody else's war, we may as well pay ourselves back for it. And he uses kind of his famous example of, General Patton. General Patton would be rolling in his grave if he saw, what we're doing. And, our military wants to do it. We have the finest military anywhere in the world. There's just no question about it. But the fact that our leaders don't say, hey, listen, guess what? Go take the oil. Let's pay America back for, the sacrifices that it's making to try and create a safer nation for ourselves. Let's pay ourselves back. If we're going to go, build infrastructure in these countries, hospitals, schools, let's at least pay ourselves back for it. And it's really baffling that we don't do it. And, it's really been one of his main points the entire time. And it's not only about paying ourselves back, it's also making sure that those profits from the oil don't go to further fund terror. And we know it does. And it's amazing. If you look at, if you listen to John Kerry, when we did the $150 billion Iran deal, John Kerry came out point blank and said, we know some of that $150 billion is going to be used against
Isn't that
the
insane?
U.S. in the war on terror. If 1 cent of that $150 billion was going to be used against the United States, you do not release that money.
Ever.
You simply do not release that money.
Look at what happened in Orlando. Doesn't this blow your mind? So they're worried about Americans having Second Amendment rights, and I've carried my entire adult life. And yet they're the same administration that gave guns to cartels, kidnappers, and drug dealers with Fast and Furious that resulted in the death of Brian Terry and other people. They're the same people that released Gitmo detainees, terrorists, to go back in the battlefield. The same people that gave the number one state sponsor of terror, Iran, $150 billion. And the same people that funded Mohammed Morsi, the former head of the Muslim Brotherhood, with tanks and F-16s, and they're lecturing Americans about their ability to defend themselves and blaming guns and not radical Islam for what happened in Orlando. How twisted is that thinking?
It's such a travesty. We give back 5 of the worst terrorists, and we get Berkstall. We get a traitor. We get a guy who deserted his team and, went over and ended up getting captured.
Yep.
And then people went in, and there are parents in this country who don't have a child because they had to go rescue a traitor, and then we trade 5 terrorists for 1 person. It is such a disgrace. And
one of the things,
Sean, this, under a Trump administration, when he becomes commander in chief, and he's going to win for all the reasons that we're talking about, this nonsense will end. The nonsense will simply end.
One of the things I was glad that your dad took on today was not only Hillary's phony statements like, oh, I landed under sniper fire. Oops, I was tired. If your dad did that, or if your dad did a skit with Comrade Bill de Blasio that talked about CP time, we'd never hear the end of it. But more importantly, talked about the inherent corruption and the money that she's made and Bill has made from China and the Saudis and the money given to the Clinton Foundation, the $153 million in speeches to banks and insurance companies and Wall Street firms and foreign governments, and how they are beholden to all of these people.
Yeah. Well, it's amazing. When Bill came out of office in 2001, the famous quote was, "I am dead broke." She said that we are dead broke. They said they were worth negative $500,000 because they had a mortgage of $500,000, right? So now they're worth close to $200 million. They've made $151 million in the last, roughly 7 years, right, between 2007, 2014, so 9 years, whatever it is. What were they selling? What goods and services were they selling? It's not like a company like ours where we, build a building, we sell an apartment, and, if you do well and everything works out, you profit off it. What goods and services was she selling? I mean, here she was. She's a government employee. She's Secretary of State at the time. She's making hundreds of millions of dollars, all while being a government employee. I mean, tell me that's not a conflict of interest. And here you see Saudi Arabia, who's the worst abuser of women and minorities, and gay groups and everything else. I mean, a woman can't go out on the street without being escorted by a man. They don't have women's bathrooms in hotel lobbies because, it's unbelievable. Here she is taking $25 million from Saudi Arabia, and then going around and championing women's rights issues.
It's such hypocrisy.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. So
the refreshing change, though, is that your dad is unlike past Republican candidates that lost. Your dad's a fighter, and that's what I saw today. I saw somebody willing to lay out, compare and contrast their corrupt record, their failures, and also offer a different governing vision. But I've got to run. Now, you also joining us on TV tonight, so Eric, we always appreciate your time. And I thought this was a transformative week for you guys, and I think it's going to be very interesting to watch how Clinton responds to this.
Yeah, it's been an amazing week, and I'm proud of him, Sean. The whole family's proud of him, and we're going to fight every minute of every day to make sure we win because...
well, I want somebody to fight for America. Yeah, that's what I'm looking for.
That's what he's doing. That's what he's doing. He's doing it for one reason, and that's America.
Eric Trump, thank you.